old, no one had your phone number, and that you didn't know about your friend.
Yes, I had to know first. Basically, I had to have the information.
Yes, well, that's what you wanted. But I'm asking you, why did you create not getting it first? What are you trying to prove right about your story? About your narrative? About your piece of shitness?
They're worthless without the information, without knowing.
Okay. That without information, you are not important, you're worthless, you're meaningless, you don't have a purpose in the world. Perfect. That is a very important step because it's telling people and bringing to their awareness that they're creating this narrative over and over and over again to prove their parents right, to prove their conception story right, and that they are going to continue being who they are meant to be. It always happens to me. Oh my God, that always happens to me. People say that. Of course it happens to you. You need it to happen to you. Because what? Who the fuck would you be if it didn't happen to you? There's this wonderful woman, I talked to you about her before. Her name is Byron Katie. And she has a book called Loving What Is. You can Google her and you can get her little sheet. It's a 4-step sheet. First question, is what you're saying true? Yes or no? Second question, is what you're saying 100% true? What would you be without the thought of thinking that? You don't fucking know. Who would she be if she changed the thought, I have to have the information first? Who the fuck would I be? Of course, and then your whole life, and then that means that everything has been a lie. And then you're in crisis. So fuck it. Let me keep just saying I need to have the information. Let me keep studying my ass off. Let me keep gathering research, letters behind my name. Eventually, but we could facilitate the process for a client so that they don't have to reach 45, proving worthlessness, getting cancer, getting a divorce, etc., 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 because of course I'm dramatic, and help a client get there quicker, make them aware quicker. So even though she may gather information, and even though she might be the youngest PsyD in Florida, and even though she will always be the one that knows the stuff first, it stops being the source of her value, of her validation. That is what we want to help clients with. That is what we want clients to become aware of. Keep doing it. That's your behavior. Behaviors change, tendencies don't, right? Her tendency is going to be to gather journals and information and read everything and Google and this and know the answer before everybody else. Great, who cares? But if it could stop validating her falsely, then we've done some good. That's what we want. Not necessarily that the person is going to oh my God, never do that again. Not necessarily realistic.
Okay, so I don't know how to word this properly. So you're not supposed to want to be validated? Are you just supposed to work from inner peace and happiness? I'm confused now.
Okay, that's a great question. Remember our fragmented selves. 2 of our archetypes, and when we get into the planets, are like love and compassion and action and doing. Female, male. right? We have these archetypes in us. Therefore, we need to honor all of the archetypes. However, we live in a society where this one is the one that's given worth. One of my cousins on my mom's sister-in-law's side is a female filmmaker. And she just received in the mail from one of her fans a shirt that said, "The future of film is female." And she posted it on Instagram. And today I was reading something on one of these social media things about, being female and loving female and future of female and all that. And I told you this a little bit when we did some myth a few weeks back. At the beginning, so to speak, the religions and the mythologies that led were female. They were led by the goddess. They were nature religions. We followed the cycles of the moon, of the plants. There was 1,000 years of peace without one war when women were in charge. These are the stories that you read about the goddesses, the witches, the Avalon, that you read about in the Knights of the Round Table, these women that were witches and things like that, okay? They worked the land and they were the feminine energy. When the feminine energy ruled the earth was taken care of. Upon the time of Christianity, men became the ones in charge. I told you how they took all of the pagan religions and they made them Christian religion. Astra became Easter, and the Bacchanalias became Christmas, okay? And who started ruling was men. Men and women are different people. We just are. My therapist last night was telling me she's reading this book on evolutionary psychology, and it's a lot of research on the difference of male and female. And so we know we have Mars are from, women are from Venus, men are from Mars. There's things like that. We love different. We engage differently, okay? However, we have both. Yin has yang, yang has yin. You have estrogen, I have testosterone. Okay, these things exist. We all start female, and from there, the penis is created. Okay? So we have this in us. At that turn of the century, when Christianity and men became the driving force, they destroyed nature. Everything was about brute strength. It was about the swords. It was about fighting. Okay? And God was a man. And we forgot about the cycles of nature, and we went to more of a solar calendar rather than a lunar calendar. So we are in a solar calendar. The Kabbalah still uses a lunar calendar. So you see in, for instance, Judaism, the mother is Jewish, the child is Jewish. It's more of a matriarchal lineage. That was eradicated. And so in our collective unconscious, what happened is the masculine became the power. What is all over the country, in the country's capital? What are the statues that are all over the world? There's one specific type of statue. What's in Washington, D.C.? What?
Monuments, Capitol,
And the Statue of Liberty.
White House. What do you?
What's the Washington Monument?
Looks like Yeah, that's a good, yeah.
I know where you're
Are you
getting
trying
at,
to-
I think I know where you're getting at.
Yeah, the triangle.
They're obelisks. They're penises.
That's what I was gonna say.
What?
That's
My
what I was
penis
gonna say.
is bigger than your penis. So that's what's in all the countries.
Is that the Eiffel Tower too?
The Eiffel Tower, you know, in that sort of format. You've got in Bastille in France, Bastille Day on July 14th. The Bastille thing is an obelisk. Washington, D.C. They're penises. It's a penis fight. That's what it is. So Freud, as crazy as people think he is, we didn't have that sort of penis envy when the feminine and the goddess ruled the world. Yes, of course, there were still manipulations and all of the feminine stuff because the feminine mind is much more complex. But in the man's world, finance and fucking.
And food, Mom.
And food, yes, I know. But you need the finance and the fuck. So you take the woman for food and then you... Okay, so it's about the second chakra. With a woman, it's different. I've told you this. The evolutionary psychology. The man goes to hunt, gets the tiger, kills it, drags it into the house, and goes lays on the fucking couch. And the woman is like, okay, I gotta skin this fucker. I've gotta see how I'm gonna use those teeth. How can I use that cartilage? How many people can I feed? How many days can we get out of this? How am I gonna store it so it's okay? Maybe I can make broth from the bones, and you strategize. That's Athena. Mars, the masculine part of Mars is the brute strength. I killed the tiger, here you go. The strategic part of Athena, the feminine part of, because everything has a masculine and a feminine, is Athena, the strategy. And the woman had to strategize. So of course, when women ruled the world, there was deeky and there was gossip, and my boobs are bigger than yours, and hoo, and all of that. But there was peace, because it's done in a very different way. Women manipulate and maneuver in a different way. Men are like, shake on it, see you next week at basketball. So we have to understand that we have moved collectively. The psyche, especially in our country, in the Western world, this is not the same in other countries and in the East. But we are talking about our clientele, probably Western world. This is what's valued. The finance and the fucking. Money in your pocket and the dick in the box. And if it's not the dick in the box, it's how do I get the dick? Or how do I get the guy to pay my bills? Or whatever it is. The values of this. So you want to be validated, but you want to be validated on your truth. She and I were talking this morning. I'm in a severe depression. I'm super sad about my husband leaving. I am going to lose my hair next week. Everything in my life is changing. But I know some fundamental good things about myself. I know I'm a good teacher. I know that I'm good at what I do. You guys validate that, but I do know that. So within the scheme of all the shit and all the crying and all the misery that I'm in, there's a little thread that I know because it's been a constant in my life. I can't say that about my parenting. I'm now perhaps starting to think that I'm a good parent. But But teaching and counseling, that's something that because it's been a constant. So it's one of the very few things that is giving me any sort of happiness that I do not want to give up at all, even if I'm freaking vomiting. I'll have a trash can, but I want to be here. Because it's a value that I know I'm good at. It gives me validation. That you guys show up or not, or tell me or don't. Do we need others to validate us? Of course. Of course we do. We're human. It started with our parents. But if we build our entire life on our parents or anyone else validating only, then we're empty. Our third chakra is empty. But of course we need that. That's why we have body image issues. That's why we want to drive a nice car. That's a natural human tendency. We are animals. It is okay. But if this becomes, and this is what you see a Jim Carrey or a Keanu Reeves, they're all over Instagram now making comments about, have everything, get rich, do it all, and you still won't be happy. Because that's what people learn. That just because you go up, 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 some people never learn it, they think that they're going to be validated. Usually, people go up the ladder, and then what? And they're crying because they realize that they got the car and the watch and the title and the job and the bank account and the paycheck, and they're still empty because those things were validating them. So you don't unvalidate the need to validate, because that's just a 0 to 100 as, wanting it all to be external. It's a combo. But your validation must come mainly from yourself, knowing what you're good at. And part of what happens with validation is we will not validate ourselves if the family values aren't in alignment. Oftentimes, if the family values are not in alignment, we will not validate that part of us, even though it's the best part of this. You said the other day you know how to get stuff and you use your body, and you said your mom was kind of like that. You have no problem. No problem. It's wonderful. Freaking use it. Shake that ass. Do what you gotta do. Because your value system, that's in your mother's good bucket. You don't have a problem with it. Maybe that's how she paid the bills, and you're like, damn, this works. And it's good, and I get a drink. And so you don't have a conflict. But a holy nun over here, appalled. Did I tell you about the client that I had last week? That I said so. She was a Virgo. I did astrology. And she had, Virgo is the virgin sign, and then Black Moon is like the slut. And she had Pluto, Black Moon next to each other, which is a very sexual thing. I said, so. I said, are you like the virginal with the real dirty, dirty, dark secrets that you just want to fucking be all dirty and nasty, nasty? And she's like, yes. And she's like, how do you know? And I told her. Because the Virgo, she goes, yes, but I don't act on it. Of course, because you're the Virgo. So she is totally in agreement with the nasty, nasty. But this is in the bad bucket. That stuff's in the bad bucket. So until she moves it into the fuck it bucket, that she's just going to accept that that's who she is and violate the Costco membership, it's going to cause pain. Pain is caused because your values and your beliefs given from conception through childhood are not in alignment with your true self. And you are trying to still please your parents and not meet your own needs. That is the source of all pain. I want that, but I'm not allowed because my parents or society or religion or your dick in the box thread said you can't. That's why there is no wrong or right. It is what you think about it. So that client, hopefully eventually we can get her to be the nasty nasty. And she can let go some of her Virgo tendencies. It's hard though. It's hard. Will I act on it? Because people don't realize that it's not the action. The moment you think it, you've done it. It's already in the energy. The minute you've thought of cheating, you've cheated. And the subconscious tells you that. That's why when you answer what you don't like about the person, place, thing, or situation, oh, he cheated on me. Have you thought of cheating? I don't say, did you cheat? Oh, have you thought of cheating? You've never looked by it and said, oh, Lottie, I could do it. It's because you have it in you. And the irony is, if we remember archetypes, we have every archetype in us. So everything we answer in step 2 is in us. We all have that. That is Gemini, Mercury, the information obsession. My Saturn's in Gemini. I have that. My generation, my best friend Jen, she and I are constantly looking for the next thing we're going to study. Her husband is constantly in the next thing he's going to study. Our generation has Saturn and Gemini. We are obsessed with information. We didn't have the Google and all of that. So somewhere she has Mercury and Gemini in maybe the house of studies, or is the main thing. And that's why information is going to be super important, and we'll do that when we get more into the astrology. But every single person has a Mercury. So every single person wants information about something. So that's why judging is stupid, but we judge because we do. We're human, and it's okay, because through our judgments, we're learning to see who we are and what we don't like about ourselves. Step 3, why did you create it? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
About the validation? You have to create this drama, trauma, dilemma, broken nail, because there's something you must prove right about yourself. You have to prove your story, your conception, the way that your mother didn't love you, that you're a piece of shit, that, you know, you're the only person who ever walked the earth that, you know, had blue eyes, whatever it is. You have to prove that right. So we are all very tired. Carolyn Mace has a book called Energy Anatomy. I told you about this before. And she talks about energy currency. She says that we all have $100 in the bank of energy, okay? And what happens is, by 8 o'clock in the morning, by the time we've made breakfast and gotten dressed and showered or whatever, we're already down to like $20. Because the energy to get ready, but then all the crap of our childhood and our relationships, we're dragging. So energy, you know, we burn energy. So by the time I get out the door at 8:15, I'm on negative energy. And part of that negative energy comes from proving these things right. So we're always tired because we're constantly proving to the world that we're worthless, that we're nothing without information, that our kids don't love us, that I'm a horrible mom, that, you know, if I'm not, you know, attractive, then I'm worthless, that I don't have a place, that money, you know, is important and I don't have any, or whatever it is. If I leave my family to go to school, I'm not good, I'm not honoring my auntie, whatever it is. So in step 3, you ask the client, why did you create not being told, Aniela? This is the question I have to tell you that most clients get stuck on. This is the question that I must spend a lot of time on because people do not get it. They're like, what? So either I have to find a different way to say it, or they're stupid, okay. Because it's a belief system. That's the thing, and I told you that. Your clients have to believe that you're gonna be working with this understanding, and if they don't, it could be hard. So sometimes I have to get creative. But why would you need to create a situation where you're the last to know?
Because I'm worthless without any information.
Okay, because you're worthless without information, but where does that come from? Let's not give, we obviously know the therapeutic answer because we're in a classroom, but let's speak from Aniela. Where does that come from? When was there a time that you didn't have information and it screwed you over? Or, okay, you see?
My family is all about secrets, so never.
Okay.
Never.
What kind of secrets?
I don't know. They're just,
What kind of secrets do they keep? I know the secrets that
I
you
was
keep.
just gonna say that. Oh my God, we're so connected. Can you pick up that marker?
Yes, Adriana.
Oh,
maybe.
wow.
That's her.
She wanted
comes
to,
like fixing everything.
yay. Because that would have bothered me the whole rest of the time.
I was debating, like not interrupting. That's fine.
Oh, yay, Sophia.
So the family is all about secrets. Okay, so why is you being kept in the dark? Why is you not knowing the information important to your story? Why is that important for your narrative?
because all I ever saw when I was a kid, all I ever remember, it's everything being secretive, everything. It's just whispering things and fighting about this and then saying, I'm gonna say about this, about that, and then I figured out that they didn't want me when my family didn't want me to be there, and when my parents conceived me, they didn't want me to. They wanted my mom to abort me. And I figured that out because they were fighting, so everything is just secret.
What age did you find out about the abortion?
7, 8?
Makes sense, the story. 0 to 7, 0 to 9. Okay, so there's always going to be a piece of information that fits the story perfectly. Sometimes you have to probe. Sometimes it's not till sessions later. It doesn't matter, but you can ask questions. So it's not even that the family's all about secrets and therefore she has to be out, not part of it, in order for her to belong to her family. It's that her whole narrative is based on the fact that she discovered a secret that was about her not existing. Okay? So, this is a person who subconsciously, when we did the breath exercise of bringing in the air or releasing the air, which part did you like better? Holding in the air or breathing it out? Liked holding it in. Okay. So, taking up less space, just a little bit that's, versus I can just relax. Okay, so these are little things that we can do with clients to get them to understand. If she has to hold things in because she found something out about herself, girls, she found something out about herself that wasn't necessarily positive. Okay, so in your own words, why did you create your friends not telling you anything about your other friend's death? In your own words. would be the need to create it? What are you proving true?
The secret about what